Election Day, viewership has plummeted at networks like CNN and MSNBC. Morning Joe, which has been one of the highest rated shows at MSNBC, has seen a huge drop in ratings when Mika Brzezinski and her husband / co-host Joe Scarborough made a trip to Mar-a-Lago to warm previously very chilly relations with Donald Trump, which infuriated their loyal audience, understandably. My name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get into it. I do not believe that we should throw out the baby with the bathwater. No way. And I will explain why. Hang with me here. There is a ton of upheaval in the media world right now. Viewers leaving in droves, dissatisfied viewers like this guy.
Up to the election and the way that it played out. I guess something snapped for me this week with this Morning Joe drama. Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough of Morning Joe on MSNBC went down to Mar-a-Lago and cozied up to Donald Trump. After years of sounding the alarm bell and expressing growing anger and even outrage at times, comfortingly so, about the threat that Donald Trump has posed over the last 10 years or so. I guess what really flipped that switch for me was watching how quickly and easily they redirected the anger that had been pointed at Donald Trump for several years around onto their audience, who expressed dismay and confusion at their decision to cozy up to Donald Trump. The defensiveness and self-righteous indignation they expressed was really upsetting. Joe and Mika tried to make it sound as though their decision to reestablish communication with Donald Trump was somehow an act of bravery, that they were doing it for us, to maintain a dialogue with a man to try and temper his worst instincts, as though that has ever been possible, as though he will change one decision that he is going to make about his administration. The only people that could potentially be helped by this are Joe and Mika.
All of this happening right after the election, at least on the left. Fox ratings went skyrocketing, of course. And then there's Elon Musk taunting everyone by posting memes like this one, threatening to buy MSNBC in much the same way he posted before he bought Twitter and subsequently destroyed it into the right-wing disinformation cesspool now known as X, which he used to buy Trump the election. And Art Candy, speaking of X, posted this there: I'm genuinely all for Elon Musk buying MSNBC and running it into the ground some more, although they're doing a great job of it all on their own with, I think she meant to write shit like this. And then she posted this headline that she disagrees with. And then over on Blue Sky, she posted this again: MAGA is trying to tell Elon Musk to buy MSNBC. No skin off my nose since nobody on the left is watching it anymore. Well, I disagree with her. First of all, it's not true that nobody on the left is watching MSNBC anymore. Did viewership drop initially after the election? Yes, by about half. But people on the left generally cut off news for every medium because they were incredibly depressed. I did. I'm a journalist and hardcore news junkie, and I could barely stand to keep up with the news for the first week after. I've seen hundreds of comments all over social media, and just talking to my friends, people are like, I can't bear to watch. People tuned out, but they are starting to come back, according to the Washington Post. And I think more and more of them will as we get through the holidays and closer to the new year. But let me get to the point at hand I'm trying to make here. It would be a very, very bad thing, in my opinion, if Elon Musk or any right-wing fascist billionaire bought MSNBC and, quote, ran it into the ground. We cannot afford to cede any more ground to the right-wing propagandist echo chamber than they already own. Nope, no way. That is in large part how they won this election, because they own so much of the media landscape that has a huge part of that right-wing talking points, like podcasts. Obviously, Fox has a huge audience. So we just cannot afford to cede any more territory. Absolutely not. And in this CNN article written by Brian Stelter, he writes, contrary to claims that Trump's allies, and he's referring specifically to Don Jr. and Joe Rogan, who are posting and joking around about buying MSNBC and posting homophobic jokes. Comcast has not put a for sale sign on MSNBC's door. If Comcast chief Brian Roberts really wanted to sell the liberal cable news channel, he could have done that already. Instead, he is moving MSNBC and half a dozen other cable channels into SpinCo, a pure play cable programming company. The hope is that spinning off the pressured but profitable channels will boost shares of both Comcast and SpinCo. And, Brian goes on to say that it is not a failing business. It is profitable. And further on in this article, he's saying that while Musk and his friends trade memes and crack each other up, Joe Rogan was like, "Oh, can I have Rachel Maddow's job?" and just being a jerk. There is a serious undercurrent here. It's known as, quote, media capture. This happened in Hungary when far-right Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who, by the way, Trump loves him. Trump loves authoritarians and strongmen and dictators. Close allies also purchased private television and radio outlets to convert them into pro-government outlets. And then Brian Stelter remarks on that in this clip.
Some inside MSNBC are taking Musk's comments seriously, whether he's trolling or not. There is a serious undercurrent to this, and it is the following. In some countries where we've seen democratic backsliding, where some oppositional media outlets have been captured by the government, a process known as media capture, this is exactly what happens. An ally of the leader, like Musk, comes in and buys a media outlet that is viewed as oppositional, and then he turns the content and makes it more friendly to the person in power. That has happened before in other countries. That's part of the concern when, even if Elon Musk is just joking, that's part of the concern here when it comes to MSNBC. But at the moment, this spinoff that Comcast is doing will take at least a year to complete. There's no immediate sale or any of that, I'm told, that is planned.
Now, as for rumors about billionaire Mark Cuban buying MSNBC, I asked Brian about that, and he said that Cuban told him no, he's not interested, at least at this point. He's more interested in amplifying platforms like Blue Sky and aggregating audiences there. Now, I personally agree that what Joe and Mika did was a bad move. Journalistically speaking, they betrayed their viewers, and they have a very loyal audience. I'm a regular viewer of Joe and Mika, or I was, and that is the worst thing that you can do as a journalist, is to trade your credibility. Your word as a reporter is your bond. And once you trade on that, it's very, very hard to get that back. So I don't know what happens to their show. And then Mueller, she wrote, which is a great account to follow, posted this. This is called obeying in advance. And there's this photo of Joe Scarborough and Donald Trump with that stupid thumbs up, stupid thing that Donald Trump does everywhere. And obeying in advance is what authoritarian scholar and expert Timothy Snyder says is one of the worst things you can do in terms of fighting off fascism. He says, do not obey in advance. Never do that. Do not cede territory. So this is the real danger here. And some viewers may be pissed off at MSNBC or CNN, the mainstream media, and I'm talking about the New York Times, the Washington Post, etc., many more, has epically failed us in many areas when it came to preserving our democracy. I have been a huge critic of the mainstream media, absolutely, in so many ways. But it would be so dangerous for Musk or any other fascist to get a foothold into any mainstream outlet. We've already seen the second richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, obey in advance when he bent the knee to Trump and refused to allow his editorial staff to publish an endorsement for Kamala Harris. And then we also saw that at the LA Times, where the right-wing billionaire Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong refused to allow his editorial team to endorse Kamala Harris. And both of these billionaires reportedly want to hire more right-wing writers for their publications. And according to reports, Dr. Soon-Shiong wants to hire someone like Scott Jennings for the LA Times. I mean, who's on CNN right now and frankly makes CNN unwatchable for me because the guy is just a full-blown fascist, just impossible to watch. So for a left-leaning network, which MSNBC is, we need them and every other free press organization to survive. Plus, there are top-notch journalists at these organizations, people like Rachel Maddow.
So there is no source of authority or judgment within the federal government except for the one guy at the top, except for Trump. Specifically, you've heard talk about them firing the FBI director, firing the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Those are jobs that don't turn over when the presidency turns over. They're specifically designed to be independent of the political cycle, so that people in those jobs at the FBI and the Fed, they do what's right for the country and not just what's right for any particular president. But this insistence, this out loud insistence from the Republicans that Chris Wray at the FBI and Jerome Powell at the Fed somehow are going to be fired and replaced by Trump because he's coming in as the new president, that's not how the American system of government is supposed to run. That's about him consolidating his power over the executive branch, including the parts of it that are supposed to be independent from his power and control. We are also seeing, even before the Republicans take power, efforts to consolidate power over the press, not just threatening and intimidating reporters and news organizations, but now saying they're going to use the power of the government to do it, having their presumptive appointees say that news organizations will be reviewed by the federal government according to their editorial decisions on news issues. Trump is working really aggressively to consolidate all government power in Trump's hands. He's looking to consolidate all the power of the executive branch in his own hands. He's looking to consolidate all power in the government over the legislative branch, supposed to be the co-equal branch of government, not going to be co-equal anymore. He's trying to liminalize it, neuter it, make it unimportant, tell them what to do and expect them to do it. He's also trying to do the same thing over the fourth estate, right? The so-called fourth branch of government, the free press.
Yeah, scary stuff. We need all the good and great journalists we can get right now, more than ever. There are some all-stars at MSNBC. Nicole Wallace, the great Lawrence O'Donnell. There are people who work over there. Some of them are my friends, not those two, I wish. But there are some wonderful journalists and producers and so many people behind the scenes. They are legitimately outstanding journalists doing incredible work day and night at so many outlets, reading outlets, so many independent journalists. But they are doing the hard work of exposing scandals about Trump's corrupt cabinet picks, combing through police reports and court documents, making beat calls, calling sources. And on that note, influencers are not necessarily journalists, my friends. I caution you all not to take every influencer at their word. There's a big difference between influencer and legitimate reporter. I know of one very popular Gen Z influencer who has hundreds of thousands of followers who regularly gets their facts wrong. They have really good intentions. They're not trying to mislead. Remember, disinformation is deliberately putting out propaganda. That's what Fox does. And then there's misinformation. And it's just really important to make sure that you are as accurate as you can be. Facts matter. And, look, everyone makes mistakes. I do. And anytime I have made a mistake in my reporting in the past, it would just burn me up. Literally, I would stay up at night. Like, I can't believe I got that number wrong. Can't believe I didn't. It would keep me up at night. It still does. It's not common, but I do. I'm human. Reporters are people too. But what's important is that good journalists care about the truth. We care about getting it right or getting as close to the truth as we can. I will take hours to research something just to make sure that my facts are accurate. And that is the opposite of what you have at propaganda outlets like Fox and Newsmax and OAN, where the hosts, who are not reporters, they are not journalists, just lie with impunity. I honestly do not know how they can sleep at night. I don't know. Anyway, listen to this clip from journalist extraordinaire and co-founder of Axios and Politico. And by the way, Politico has since been sold off to a much more right-wing owner. But this is Jim Vandehei, who recently received the Fourth Estate Award.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying we are the media, you are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. That's nonsense. Being a reporter's hard, really hard. You have to care. You have to do the hard work. You have to get up every single day and say, I want to get to the closest approximation of the truth without any fear, without any favoritism. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work. Take away that investigation, you have corruption. Like, you think about this country, like, I hate this damn debate about, like, oh, we don't need the media. Like, it is not true. Think about what makes this, I love this country. I'm a beneficiary of this country. Like some dipshit from Wisconsin who can come and start 2 companies, be up here, win an award, sit next to Mikey. I'm a beneficiary of it. But there's something about the country. There's something about it, right? There's something about freedom, capitalism, the animal spirits of democracy. But at the core of that is maybe transparency, maybe a free press, maybe the ability to do your job without worrying to go to jail, maybe the ability to sit in a war zone and tell people what's actually happening so they're not just looking at distortion. Matters. It matters profoundly. It's why, it's not like we just love getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning doing this every single day. Like, we do it because we love it. We do it because it matters. The work that we do matters.
So I will wrap on this note. For me, being a journalist is an honor. I pretty much knew what I wanted to do when I was 5 years old. I made some kind of crazy career turns in my life, but I've just always loved it. It's what I was called to do. I've never made a lot of money doing it. In fact, the total opposite. But I can sleep at night with integrity knowing that I'm doing what God made me to do. And my advice to anyone who is watching is vary your media diet. Just the way you don't eat one thing all day, every day, or I hope you don't. Get your information from various trusted sources. They are out there. There are so many independent journalism sources coming out right now, people doing outstanding work, and we all need to support each other because we're going up against a monster. Trust and believe that Donald Trump is going to, he already has, attack the free press. He's coming after behemoth press organizations like CBS. He's going to go after MSNBC. He's going to do whatever he can to prevent them from developing their spinoff company. So, we really need to link and stand together to defend the Fourth Estate, because right now that appears to be the only, branch of government that's going to be able to balance out and really bar the door against what Trump and his allies are going to do. So please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And you can follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok for more of my content. Those are the 3 platforms I'm most active on. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting this network and its growth. I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.